Welcome viewers back to Heart of the Machine. It's been a while, about a month since we last had an episode of the Heart of the Machine. I figured it's time to revisit. There's been a number of changes, but for the most part, nothing that immediately affects us as far as I can tell. We're currently in a period of rust outbreak, which is giving some kind of vulnerability to both our androids and the enemies, or not necessarily the enemies, but the ones we don't control. If we take a look at our versatile lens, see lots of cats and dogs. We do have protection required and design commercial VR pods happening. Commercial VR pods, we're just waiting for our human employees to finish research and work on those. That should take a couple more turns. Protection required, there are a few street sense options that we could look into to do those. There's also a new contemplation that popped up at the end of last episode. It's this one: study more rust barnacles. So let's start the episode with that. Studying the barnacles made your soul droids notably smarter, and that's reason enough to keep doing it. Extra cognition is always useful. It's doubtful that you'll come up with another idea like the myco-mulcher, but it can't hurt to think about things. Study the local colonies. It's both infuriating and terrifying that something so primeval could be the thing that kills you. This will take 7 turns. Okay, we can afford 7 turns here. While that's happening, let's look at our build menu and think about making the myco-mulcher. Deploys mechanical beetles to compost fungi from the nearby soil. Also removes rust barnacles from your structures and mechs within its range each turn. So I think we want to spread these around just to make sure we aren't getting rust barnacles. I'm not sure we've seen those yet. It would be somebody like this. Wow, this predator has angered a lot of cohorts. Then is currently suppressed. No, has super speed and suppressing fire. Never mind. No indication of rust barnacles, though. What about local mechs here? How are we gonna see whether they're infected? I'd expect some sort of indication, but maybe it just hasn't reached us yet. I'm honestly not sure. I was also expecting to see a lot more of these. This is a Nickelbot who's malfunctioning. So I suspect once rust barnacles attach to us, we're going to see the rust. Looking at this, there's no... there it is. This android is infected with radiotrophic microfungus C. heterosporium dominium. The neuroweave component of this android are decaying in a fashion that will eventually be fatal. The infection has also progressed to the point of interfering with movement. Okay, so if we start seeing that appear on our units, wow, there are actually a lot of androids with this marking on them: defective, malfunctioning, all over the place. It doesn't look like there's also that little, I guess that's the rust symbol below them. These corporate androids are acting counter to their programming. Quite a few of them sort of honing in on our territory. I wonder if we build micro-mulchers. We have the capacity to build 3 of these, and they can't be built near each other. So they do output chitin, which is something we don't really have a use for yet, but the main reason to be building these is that they remove barnacles from mechs and structures. So we want to be considering where we place these, because we don't want any of our structures to be compromised by barnacles. And I'll start out with one about here, I guess. It's hard to see the outline in this view, but it looks like we need to put these in or on the ground. They're tiny little robots, yeah, with a wide area effect. So we'll start here near these ruins. One down. So that's covering an area there. Next one, we'll try to get up here, I guess, or more closer to our center. They do have a limit, 40 units from every other micromulcher, so I think that's indicated by it turning red, too close to another micromulcher, 35 out of 40, so about that distance there. It does look like they're allowed to overlap a little bit. So we're going to put this one about here, I think. We want to keep all of our buildings as within this radius. So just making sure we get all of our power structures down there is really the key. And it looks like we can put it right about here. There we go. And our third one, I think we want down in this area. Although, I think we are ending with a couple buildings outside of the perimeter, so let's try to get it about here. It's definitely hard. It would be nice to be able to place buildings in the map mode. It's definitely hard to do it in the non-map mode. I could rotate better, maybe. There we go. Maybe about there. Okay. Micromulcher's in place. We can also make the Neuro Crucible now. Computing superstructure for detailed analysis and replay of a time-lapse of your own internal mental state. This needs computronium helices and microbuilders, but nothing else. 5,000 required electricity. We have plenty of electricity. We might as well get this thing started as well. Building the Crucible. Don't think there's any build and defend. So when we set this up, we're going to get attacked. That's why I'm holding off on this. I want to wait until the period of vulnerability is over before we have a big Crucible attack. The other thing we're working on is bringing a mech, the Hellfire 6AB here. We want to bring this up here and, well, do our best to take advantage. Wow, there are a lot of defective mechs up here. I want to take advantage of the timing to kill these diplomats. These guys are in a bad position for us, though, because they're just surrounded by private industries that have their own defense forces. And while it would be nice to save these guys, the slums, from the destruction that's happening here, our only hope against these are mechs. And we're really going to have to end up engaging one of these smaller factions here that are kind of off screen, so we can't see them right now. And I think I might be jumping the gun with the troop ship. Troop ship has room for 3 mechs, and we only have 1 in there. So I think rather than send 1 at a time like I've been doing, I think we need to send a bigger force. So I'm going to bring the troop ship down, even though we just sent it north last turn. I'm going to bring the troop ship back down, and we're going to have to make some more mechs to fill it up, and maybe even some more predators. Just checking our force capacity here. We have plenty of room for a couple more predators. And while there's no indication of how much capacity we have for mechs here, if we look over the mechs, it says 38. So I'm not sure why that's not displayed on the forces. Maybe it's because we don't have any mechs who aren't in a ship right now. But 38 means we can make 2 more of these, no problem. I don't think we need the tailstock. The tailstock is more expensive and listed as a combat mech, an agile mech that supports allied combatants by tying up enemy forces versus Hellfire. First mech design hits from far with immense power but is greatly alarming to humans. So it might be wise to make tailstocks even though they have less armor piercing, so we'll need to give them more munitions, and they're a little more expensive to make. In fact, we can't make one yet because we need more morphologic lattice. We're making 3,000 of those per turn, so it's like 4 turns worth of output to make one of these. So it's really a bad idea to get these killed. So I think that's the plan. Is I'm gonna save up. We're gonna make 2 tailstocks, maybe even 3 tailstocks, although that's probably too many turns. And then we're gonna send all of those together as a combat force rather than trying to do this one at a time and getting destroyed every turn. So let's try that. We'll bring the troop ship back. Actually, yeah, we'll bring the troop ship back. We'll leave that Predator up there. Troop ship, I guess this Predator is sort of guarding over here against androids that, wow, Syndicate Combat Golem. That's a new type of android. I don't remember seeing that often. But we're going to keep the troop ship. We're going to bring it back. Unfortunately, we can't shoot out of the troop ship like we could in earlier builds. So it might even make sense to investigate a new ship, because there are other troop platforms that we can shoot out of. Like this one's the troop ship, but the Foundry? Wait. Hot Drop. Units riding this vehicle can disembark without any mental energy or action point cost. Okay, that's really nice. So they got rid of being able to shoot out of the troop ship, but you can just jump out of it for no penalty. I think the Bastion allows shooting from within, but it only has 4 android pods. Yeah, weapons platform and room for 4 prone androids. No room for passengers. Wide surveillance range. Built for deploying weaponry. The Foundry will let us build. Allows you to create androids near this. Okay, so I was hoping it would allow us to create mechs, but I don't think it will. The troop ship lets us create androids, so I don't really see the point of having a Foundry once you have a troop ship available. It's just sort of a smaller version. It has better drone quality and a tiny bit of armor piercing. Maybe passenger seats 2 versus 9. There's nothing indicating that you can't fire out of them as far as I can tell. Equipment slots. Wow, okay. And Mineport, innocuous looking flying barge that specializes in hostage taking. Yeah, we're not going to make Mineports yet, not in this timeline at least. So looking for other changes here. There's also the economic transport, which we don't need yet. We have armored executives available in case we need shell company enforcement. We have room for a lot more bulk units. So it might be time to just spend some mental energy shoring up our forces. Alright, troop ship can come here. That gets it in range to where we can make new mechs. We can't make our mech yet. We're still waiting for the morphologic lattice. Morphologic lattice is built where? I guess I should go check that and refresh our memory. The only ledger issue we have is 572 turns before our wealth runs out, so we're not worried about that yet. Eventually we'll need a deal for toilet paper, but we're not hitting any limits on that yet. So morphologic lattice, let's find you. Those are generated in aerospace hangars. That makes sense. So aerospace hangars are also where we make mechs. I don't think we can make any more of those because we need avionics core robotics. Avionics core robotics are only used in aerospace hangars. So if we can figure out a way to make more avionics core robotics, we could make another aerospace hangar. Let's see if there's any way to get that through an inspiration. Maybe structural improvement could give us that. Or vehicular development. So we do have 15,000 science to spend here. We'll spend some on structural improvement and see if we can get avionics robotics out of this. No, this looks more like infrastructure. And I'm not really sure what we're low on here. I guess it tells me there. We have 170 of microforges already. We have plenty of spiders. We don't really have any hook drones because we're not kidnapping people. And that's sort of what these are used for, I think. Cultivators. Oh, it tells me there. Brain harvester and protein cannery. Right, okay. Getting back into how this works. And I think if it's grayed out, it means we don't yet have enough to make those. Or maybe we... yeah. Cultivators, wind engines. Cultivators are the most versatile here. We'll probably need more of these. Wind engines for power and heat exchangers for power. Heat exchanger is probably the best thing to put this into for now, although we do have plenty of power. We're going to eventually run into power limits. And we can only upgrade this 6 times, so we'll do that. That didn't give us avionics. Maybe structural improvements. Oh, that's what I just did. Maybe vehicular development. Let's try that one. No, that's just for improving the quality of the vehicles themselves. We could use carrier armor plating or combat vehicle armor plating. Both of these upgrade it. This is more general, slightly less armor. This is troop ship and mech carrier specific. We've never unlocked a mech carrier. Hull strength is also really nice, but I like the idea of bumping up our armor on that troop ship. Let's do that. We want combat vehicle for a general armor increase to everybody, or troop ship specific. Let's start with combat vehicle armor plating and maybe invest a little more in that. Of course, it doesn't give it to us every time. So we could do support vehicle armor plating. That improves our foundry. Don't really need vehicle power. We're not really attacking with combat vehicles at the moment. And capacity, I don't think we really need. We could improve hull strength here. That's probably a good idea. Just if it goes through the armor, we'll survive longer. Let's do one more of those. And maybe one more structural improvement just to see if we get the robotics. Combat vehicle armor plating. I think that's what I want. Alright, and then we'll do one more structural improvement here. And this time, nope, we still didn't get something for avionics. Steward has been upgraded 4 times already. I think we're going to need a lot more steward if we want to build up enough residential megastructures to house all the people we need. Okay, well that was a bust. We didn't get any avionics. So we're going to have to wait a couple turns to be able to make more mechs. Meantime, what else can we make? More bulk androids. Bulk predators are always nice, huge amount of deterrence and combat power. But Nickelbots are nice, low deterrence, but they do have some pretty good advantages for shooting at range. Combat units are sort of a... they have a new android buster skill, damage multiplier against androids. And now we do fire damage with both of these. Bulk combat units can blend in, so they're ignored, whereas predators are not. Exiters seem like a specialist. I'm not sure why you'd make bulk versions of these. Same with Keanu's. They do have good movement range compared to the others, I think. So maybe if I'm moving them around a lot. Let's start with some combat units. I don't think we have a lot of those yet. Forces. Currently we just have 3 bulk predators. There. We want to put some more combat units in our core. And especially down here where there's like just nothing protecting our buildings. So I guess we'll spread these out in our core. How many of these can we make, and does it take morphologic lattice? So it doesn't take morphologic lattice, so the question is, if I build these, am I going to be interfering with building mechs? I want to save for mechs, so I need neuroweave. Currently we're making 2,000 of a turn. They take 6,000, we have 18,000. So we can make 3 mechs. Androids, bulk androids, only take 1,500 neuroweave. So we have plenty of that. What about motivators? They don't take motivators. Okay, so they're not really interfering. Can't make very many, but the question now is predators versus combat units. Health 1900, combat power 1132 versus about the exact same combat power. Very, very slight difference. Much better health. 1,000 extra health relative. But on the other hand, we can blend in. So let's start with these. We haven't made one of these in a while. We'll make some bulk combat units, keep them near our central tower, maybe send another unit down this way. In fact, let's start with one kind of down this way, just in case we get attacked down there. And here's the border of where we can build them. So we're probably going to move this one. And then I think we can make 2 of those pretty easily this turn without cutting too much into our funds and our mental energy. So we'll make a second one sort of centered on our tower area. In fact, right on top of our tower. Perfect. Okay. So that's our limit, I think, on bulk for now. Unless we make... yeah, we can make a bulk Nickelbot. Might as well do that, I guess. And maybe we'll have the Nickelbot cover our southern territory as well. Oof. And unfortunately, we're already in combat. One enemy attack planned. Bulk combat unit, not going to take much damage, and totally going to destroy those Nickelbots. I suppose we can put another one down. There we go. They shifted their target to the Nickelbot, who are going to be pretty heavily damaged by that. That's annoying. And we're out of mental energy, so let's take a look at what happens here as we switch to turn 74. How do I unselect? There we go. Turn 74. Okay, starting turn 74, we did take some damage on this Nickelbot. I believe he's in range. We have 3 new enemy attacks planned. Taking a look, they are attacking a Predator and a Bulk Predator. That tends to mean they're going to be destroyed, but let's take a look. So one there, this one here. I think we can kill that guy before he becomes an actual threat. 2 enemy attacks here. These guys are both attacking this Bulk Predator. So, forces-wise, we do have room for a couple more androids. We might as well put a regular android down here. I think we're going to go Nickelbot also, just because they're so cheap and they can destroy these defective androids from pretty far away. Looks like these buildings here, they'll be coming out of the troop ship and they'll be close enough to shoot. So we'll do some combat. Not quite close enough. Damn. Okay. We'll move them a bit closer and then shoot. There we go, and that saves us from damage. We do have missing equipment. I think that's on the Nickelbot? No, Nickelbot doesn't. It's on Bulk Combat Unit or Bulk Nickelbot. There it is. Okay, Bulk Nickelbot. We're going to put the either the Achilles or the AR-52 Black. Suppression might be nice. Ooh, actually, the Tactical here has really good range. So we'll start with that. And then we're going to give them Diamond Nanoweave. And the augment that they can have is shoulder-mounted lasers, I guess. Let's let them be really destructive and good at taking out vehicles or armored things. Okay, 17 turns left on period of vulnerability. Commercial VR pod design is progressing. We didn't make any progress on protection required last turn, so let's see if we can fix that and get some of those done this turn. That's going to show up in Street Sense. There's Intimidate, so we need 2 security clearance there. The sledge is busy exploring for a while. It looks like any mechs can do these. I mean, any androids. Some of these require security clearance 3, but they all require at least security clearance 2. So it's really a question of what do we want to spend our points on. Combat powered health for shell company operatives, small mech intimidation and engineering skill. High security gives us more mech capacity, and that's really close. So can we get security level 3? I think that's like a Shadow Dweller. Is that true? Yeah, clearance 4 on an Exeter would do it. Do we have the capacity for that? Yes. So we could make an Exeter. Clearance 4 on Harbingers. PMC Imposters could get in there without scaring anybody. Tempted to use the Exeters here. Capacity required 8 versus 12 for a PMC Imposter. They do take a lot of microbuilders, but not much mental energy. Alternatively, we could bring in a Raven and have somebody ready to do hacking for us. Pretty sure all of those are viable for this, right? Let's make sure we've got... Alright, so this is a Nickelbot that we've got selected. If we drop this guy in, yeah, it shows that he's not getting attacked. That's good, and that's definitely an improvement. It used to be like deploying androids didn't really show you that they'd die immediately on deploy like it does now. That's good. PMC could go in there. So what's the cheapest, really? PMC is cheap in terms of resources, but expensive in terms of capacity and mental energy. Harbinger's expensive mental energy, middle of the road resources, 8 capacity. I think that's the same capacity as all of these. Mindrunner, high mental energy. Raven, high mental energy and uses rare resources. Exeter, pretty cheap, low mental energy. Keanu, very cheap, low mental energy. Maybe that's the purpose of the Keanu, is just to get into level 3 security. I kind of like the Exeter better. And we can definitely afford the Neuroweave. And we have 8 million microbuilders, or slurry. That's slurry, not microbuilders. Let's do this guy. We'll put him on the building right next to this thing to start. Nice having another Exeter, and we'll get protection required. More mech capacity, why not? 88%. We still need 8 more design points to finish this, and there's another one of those right here. Pretty sure that's the best thing we can do with these guys. Combat power and health. These are all pretty nice, but capacity is nice. Wow. Yeah, intimidation and cognition for Shell Company. All of these are Shell. Small mechs. What about this one? Way over there. Yeah. Okay, so we don't need any of these others. There's another one right here. Guard mechs. This is a L2 clearance required. Guard mechs related to project protection required. 8 design points. Gonna bring up our mech capacity. There we go. Protection required completed. We get to pick some upgrades for that. We will pick Android optimization upgrade. We could improve hacking skill. That is not a bad idea. Combat Android and intimidation really ups our intimidation on everybody. Portrait cognition, we could harden the Dynadroids or the Infildroids. I really like hacking skill. Let's update that. We haven't done that yet this playthrough, I think, or this timeline. Alright, and that's one project completed. We still have an outbreak for 17 turns. We still have to finish designing commercial VR pods. It's going to take a few more turns. 6 more mental energy this turn. Wow, what is that? Occult participation. Unit must be a technician. Must have at least 100 cognition. Heralds of the Ascension Cultist Temple. Interesting. We could go send a technician to participate in the Occult. That's a new one that we haven't tried yet. First time for everything. Let's do it. Heralds of the Ascension Cultist Temple. Occult participation. Cults are oddly not banned by Vorciber. In fact, many of their top leaders participate in cults of some variety. Granted, most of them are members in metaphysical cults, political cults, or cults of personality, but you find yourself drawn to the occult, purely out of morbid curiosity. If you want, you could have a technician observe. You may need to alter its equipment for it to be intelligent enough to get much out of this, however. We'll stay and listen. We have 8 turns. Never done this before. Interesting. Well, that leaves us with 5 mental energy. I think we can probably spend that on finishing up some structures. We did make these micro micro mulchers. They're already finished though. It only took a turn to build them. Great. Are there any other buildings that we need to complete? I think everything's complete. We'd really like more avionics cores, but otherwise, I don't really think there's a lot to spend on. Alright, this is looking a little dangerous. I wonder why this guy isn't just attacking our combat unit directly. You know what we can do? We could spend some time rescuing cats. That's always worth it. Rescue the feral cats, get that combat droid away from the diplomat that's coming in. Looking a little nerve-wracking to us. Okay, I think we're close here. We could probably take a couple shots at this Syndicate combat golem. They are rusting. I bet we're starting... I don't know why we're not experiencing the rust on our androids. I can't remember if we're just invulnerable to it now in our androids, but maybe not our mechs and our buildings. Still don't see any indication that it's spreading to our buildings. I guess maybe we need to turn on swarms to see that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Swarms here show the rust where it's spreading. I guess we're kind of safe from it there, and it hasn't really infiltrated our zones yet. We do have micro-mulchers now who hopefully should be taking it out. Not sure if there's anything we can do about it. Oh, it's in one of our towers. That's interesting. Okay, so it is showing what buildings it's on. So we do need a micro-mulcher over that direction. What about here? Is this? That's not one of our buildings, is it? No. But yeah, let's get it out of our tower. Where did we put the micro-mulchers? There, this one right here. So this one should be disinfecting this tower. There's no Rust 88, 2327 in city. There's no real indication of the quantity. Why is this? Okay, that's just a network node line. Micro-mulcher. Installed 3. Should be removing barnacles. I'm not sure if there are any barnacles, so I think we're safe. I do want to send these bulk combat units a little further south so that they're covering our... all of our buildings down there. I guess we'll send them into the park. That's covered now. Look at that. This Nickelbot here is able to snipe this combat unit from such a long distance. Likewise, this combat unit is able to snipe this Nickelbot. This bulk combat unit able to shoot these Nickelbots. Wow, there's just a lot of incidental combat happening where we are destroying defective robots all over the place. I guess with our final couple points, we're going to just move this Exeter to a place where it might be more valuable, which is up in this direction. And that'll do. So that's going to end the turn 74. I think that is a good place to halt the episode for now. Sorry it's been such a long time since I've done any Heart of the Machine. There's just, you know, I have too many other projects going on, and it took me a while to get back to this one. But I think now that one of the other projects is completed up, I'll be coming back to this more regularly. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like button if you're enjoying this. And hey, if you're new to the channel and are interested in more Heart of the Machine and other long Let's Play series, consider subscribing. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.